So you've decided to volunteer for your local code club. Thank you. That is so awesome. You're going to do an amazing job. I just want to spend a couple minutes with you to give you some of the basics of Prenda and how code clubs work, what your role is in all of this stuff, and we'll have some fun along the way. So let's jump in. Why should we teach kids how to code? What kind of impact is it going to make in their lives? I love to start with why, because that's the most important thing. So we think of it in kind of two categories. There's the jobs category and the life skills category. Now on the jobs front, there's a really compelling argument. They say there's going to be 1 million unfilled computer programming jobs by the year 2020. It's 1 million jobs that they can't find enough people to fill. So these are the jobs of the future. This is what we need to be preparing our kids in if they want to have a job and a good job for the rest of their lives. Additionally, life skills. Learning how to code is the ultimate problem-solving activity. Why? Because you encounter a lot of problems when you learn how to code. So in our code clubs, kids are learning how to be critical thinkers, problem solvers. They're learning computational thinking, all of that cool stuff. So that's why we do this. That's why your library is running a code club, and that's why you're here. So let's talk a little bit about the model. We are running code clubs all around the country where people don't know how to code. So you may or may not know how to code. If you don't, you might feel a little nervous or have a little bit of apprehension about this, but fear not. You don't need to know how to code. We use a really simple model. There's an adult, there's kids, and there's technologies. The adult, that's the librarian, and you as the volunteer. There's kids, that's the kids in your code club, and there's technology, that's our software, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. You have a really easy role. You just need to be a cheerleader, mentor, and facilitator. You don't need to be a teacher. You get to give high fives and fist bumps. You get to have fun with the kids. You get to encourage them not to give up. When they're stuck and when they need help, you get to say things like, did you ask a friend? Did you try Googling it? What do the instructions say? You know, that kind of thing. It's really, really simple. You don't need to know how to code to give a high five. You don't need to know how to code to tell somebody not to give up. You don't need to know how to code to tell somebody to Google it. That's the amazing thing about this model. You just need to be you, have fun with the kids, create an encouraging and uplifting environment, and I promise the learning will happen. We're doing this in hundreds of libraries and schools all around the country, and I know it works. So just be an encouraging voice in the room, and that is going to go a long way to helping your code club be successful. The technology, this becomes the subject matter expert. It's got all of the curriculum in it. This is app.prenda.co. This is our software that the kids are using in your code club. They'll log in. It'll take them step by step from not knowing anything about coding to being able to make websites, video games, and apps. There's project opportunities there where they can apply all of that to bigger projects, and it's set up in a really, really fun way. And then lastly, the kids. This is the third part of that equation. The kids get to go at their own pace, and they get to choose to work on whatever's interesting to them. And then it's a social environment for them. So why self-paced and self-guided? Because we need the kids to take ownership over their own learning experience. The kids are essentially teaching themselves how to code in this model. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about in this quick abbreviated training is what do I do when the kids get stuck? It's a great question, and you guys as volunteers are going to have an important part to play in this role. There's a 3-step process we've created. Every time somebody gets stuck, I just want you to follow this 3-step process, okay? So number one, the first thing you do when somebody gets stuck is just ask them, what have you tried so far? Really, really simple. What have you tried so far? Get them talking about, oh, I did this. If they can't demonstrate that, I would just say, hey, it looks like you haven't really tried anything yet. Go ahead and work on it on your own for a couple minutes. And if you're still stuck, I can help you at that point, okay? If that doesn't solve the problem, you can move on to step number 2 of the process, which is simply, who else have you asked? Who else have you asked, okay? This is where you can pair them off with another coder in the room and solve the problem that way. And then lastly, if they're still stuck after those 2 things, you can say, okay, let's figure this out together. And that's where you sit down next to them and you begin to model what it's like to reread the instructions, to tinker with it, to not get frustrated, to ask somebody else for help, explain your problem, listen to their solution. And if you can do that, you will get them to the solution, okay? Now, the last thing I want to do with you is just go over the software really quickly. The kids will log in every week when they show up, and it'll look something like this. So there's two main things that the kids do in the software. They're either going to do workouts or missions. Workouts are where they learn new things. We got all of these different tracks that they can choose from. It's go at your own pace and choose to work on whatever is interesting to you. So we've got the web track, the games track, the scripting track, and the careers track. Kids will click in and it'll tell them what to do. It's got a link. They'll click the link and then do whatever it was asking them to do in that link. They might have to toggle back and forth a couple times, but whenever they're done, they just raise their hand. You come over, verify that they did whatever it was asking them to do. Real basic. You look at it, you say, yeah, you did that. Good job. That's your opportunity to give high fives, fist bumps. You'll click, it gives you the check mark. And when you complete an entire workout, the kids will be awarded a new item. That'll take them back to the gear page, and you'll see I've got all this cool stuff unlocked. The kids will have cool stuff unlocked, more and more stuff over time. So that's the workouts. The missions, same idea. There's a bunch of different missions that they can choose from. They'll work on whatever they want to, whatever looks interesting to them. They'll check off the check boxes as they go. And then when they finish that, you type in the sign-off code, and it awards them a new piece of gear. Take them back to this page, and they can add that to their character. That's essentially Code Club. That's essentially how it works. You as the volunteer, you're there to support the facilitator. You're there to make the environment fun for the kids. I want to see lots of high fives, lots of fist bumps, lots of smiling, and your Code Club's going to be awesome. So that's all I got for you. Have fun in there, and let's go build something awesome. Thanks.